Today on the show, we're going to be kicking off our Hunger Games Catching Fire extravaganza, where we're going to be talking about both books and both movies. Today, we're going to go over the top changes from the book to the movie in the first part, Hunger Games. So I recently read Hunger Games, and let me tell you, so good. I'm such a fan of the book series. Such an easy read. I had such a great time, and I think that you will also really like them.
I don't know. Hunger Games, I heard that stuff's for girls.
Oh, you fool, you ignorant fool. Hunger Games is not just for girls, okay? Just because it's written from a girl's perspective doesn't mean that you're too good to have fun reading this book, all right?
I heard that you could only like it if you read Twilight.
That is preposterous, okay? This book has nothing to do with Twilight.
Well, it's all over the media that it's just like Twilight,
Oh, don't be manipulated by the media. They're just trying to ruin this book for you because it's too filled with truth and they don't want it getting out.
They do?
Yes. It's ironic that the media is doing the same thing that the Capitol does in this book to keep you away from some crazy shit, you know what I'm saying? Some revolutionary stuff.
Are you trying to tell me that TV news is lying to me?
Maybe. The media is lying? Oh my gosh. Whoa. I never.
So you're saying it's not just for girls?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Like, this is not about romance. This is about war. This is about political manipulation. This is about fucking society and how awful it is. This is about a lot of very relevant themes to today. And Robot, something that you'll like, is that it is a very, very easy read. I know a lot of people out there don't have a ton of time to read a crazy giant book like a Game of Thrones book. Okay, that's an investment. But these things, you will fly through them so fast. And they're so much fun, and you cannot put them down. It is a page-turner.
Maybe.
Just don't dismiss it. Spoiler alert, it is assumed that you have watched the first movie, Hunger Games. It has been a year and a half, and we're going to be talking about the things that are in the book, so if you don't want to know, then don't watch. So I don't know what else to tell you.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Number 1, the Mockingjay symbol explained.
What's this? That's a Mockingjay.
So back during the first uprising, the Capitol made all these genetically modified animals that would help them win the war against the districts. And so one of these mutations, as they're called in the book, was called a jabberjay. And a jabberjay is a bird that can record any conversation that it hears and then fly back to the Capitol and repeat that conversation word for word. Sounds just like a recording. So what had happened was the Capitol was sending these birds and then they were getting all this information, but then the rebels ended up figuring it out and then started feeding the birds misinformation. So then the Capitol got all fucked up and then their whole jabberjay experiment blew up in their face. So they ended up letting them all go and just being like, hopefully they'll just die in the wild. But instead of dying in the wild, they ended up mating with mockingbirds, which produced the Mockingjay, which is an unexpected turn of events where the Capitol did some fucked up shit and it turned around and bit them on the ass. So that's why the Mockingjay is such a great representation of the new uprising. Number 2, the Avox. Now this is something that's kind of in the background of the movie and you wouldn't notice unless you've read the book. But being turned into an Avox is one of the harshest punishments the Capitol can give someone. You're turned into a mute slave, and no one's allowed to be nice to you, and people can only tell you what to do, and it just totally sucks. But what had happened was that she had seen, while she was in the woods with Gale, 2 people on the run, and they're hiding, and then they see these assholes come down out of the sky in their jet, and then they take this girl, and the girl looks at Katniss, and Katniss looks back at her, and she's like, I can't help you, and the other one is just, Katniss feels really weird about the whole thing. She's felt guilty about it for forever, because she couldn't help her, and apparently what had happened was they took her, cut her tongue out, and then made her a damn servant. So that's the whole thing. Number 3, details of the Hunger Games arena. In the book, there is a lot more details about the arena, and she's in there, it seems, for a lot longer. Like, everything's spread out a little bit more. There's a little bit more breathing room in the book. And there's a lot of really interesting details that aren't in the movie. For example, during the first few days of the Hunger Games, Katniss cannot find water, and she's super dehydrated. And she thinks to herself, like, why isn't Haymitch sending me some water? But then she ends up understanding that he's not sending her water because she's really close to it. So she's just got to keep going until she finds it, and then she does. Katniss understands what Haymitch is telling her when he does and does not send her specific things from sponsors. And then later on, when he sends her some sleeping medicine, she knows that that is to, like, knock out PETA and go get that medicine for him and make it good so you guys can get more sponsors and be kissing on screen and stuff. Another interesting example is when Katniss goes to blow up the cornucopia. When the explosion happens, it blows out one of her eardrums and she just can't hear on her left side, and it, like, freaks her out. She's like, you can't hear anything over there, so someone could just sneak up on you on your left side. But after Katniss wins the Hunger Games, they end up fixing it for her so she can hear again, because apparently the Capitol can fix just about anything medically because they have all this really advanced medical, like, technologies. And these are just a couple of examples. There's a whole lot of extra details in the book that are really awesome. Number 4, district specialties.
I want to see if she's going to figure out this booby trap.
Yes, it seems they've reburied their minds around that big pile of goodies.
Every single district has a specific specialty that district does, and that's it. An interesting side note that's left out of the movie is when the kid from District 3, which is the district that makes all the electronics for the Capitol, that kid figures out a way to get the mines out of those little pedestals that the tributes have to stand on, and they'll get blown up to bits if they, like, run off of it too quickly in the very beginning of the Hunger Games. And she also realizes that's why the careers have let this kind of puny kid from District 3 hang out with them, because he's shown himself to be useful as far as electronics go. So they're keeping him alive because of that. But as soon as they realize that he did his job a little too well and all the supplies are blown to smithereens, you know, his job's done, I guess. And it's interesting, too, because Katniss thinks to herself, like, I bet the game makers didn't know that somebody could do that, because that's a whole other thing. The game makers don't like it when you use their shit against them. Like, they don't want you using anything that they've come up with in your defense, which was possibly another strike against Seneca Crane, who had to end up eating the old berries at the end. Poor guy.
What's a career? Why do you keep saying that? Career.
Oh, careers are where, okay, in districts 1 and 2, they pretty much train to be lethal until they're 18, and then the top of the class volunteers. And those people always end up usually making alliances at the very beginning and then killing all the weaker people and then turning on each other.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Well, number 5, the three-fingered salute explained.
What's that three-finger symbol? What's that mean? Why are they doing that?
Well, that's another symbol that isn't as well explained in the movie. And I'll tell you right now, the three-finger salute where they kiss, it means thank you, it means admiration, and it means goodbye to somebody that you love. So it's an old gesture of District 12 that they all use for Katniss, and she finds it very, very touching when it happens because she doesn't know that anybody cares that she's going to the reaping. She feels very isolated in the books and, like, doesn't realize that the community around her really is rooting for her, and they really do love her. Number 6, President Snow and Seneca Crane scene change.
Have you been out there? 10, 11, 12?
Not personally, no.
And I have. Lots of underdogs. Lots of coal, too. Row crops, minerals, things we need. There are lots of underdogs. And I think if you could see them, you would not root for them either.
One change from the movie to the book is that the movie adds scenes that are like behind the scenes of what's going on, like with Haymitch and Seneca and with President Snow and Seneca Crane. Those aren't in the book at all. Everything in the book is told from Katniss's point of view, so you never get to see like the inner workings of things going on. And I really appreciate that they put those things in the movie, and I wish there was more of that in the book. One of my favorite scenes is when President Snow is talking to the head game maker, Seneca Crane, who has just been manipulated by Haymitch into trying to spin the Peeta and Katniss love story to sensationalize the Hunger Games. So he's talking to the president, and the president is like, I don't like underdogs. And if you knew these people, you wouldn't like underdogs either. And I think that this is a shitty fucking idea. And Seneca's like, what? I don't understand. And what the president is trying to say is that these people do not deserve our sympathy. You do not need to humanize them. They are slaves who are there to make us and give us the shit that we need to survive, okay? And so you do not need to make them any higher than they are. Another reason I really like this scene is because it sets, President Snow as like the ultimate bad guy. Like it really sets up his villainhood and he plays it so well. And another thing, it shows that President Snow, even though he's a member of the Capitol, is totally manipulating the other people in the Capitol. Like he doesn't want other people in the Capitol to like anybody from the districts. Like he just wants them to like the career people or something who are like fucking crazy anyways, all right? And that is really interesting. Number 7, the digital dogs.
That's it.
One of my least favorite changes from the book to the movie are the digital dogs in the arena where they're like, oh, check it out, boss. And then they have these digital dogs pop up that are in real life that can chase down people and kill them like in physical reality, and they're not just like projections or something. That part was not in the book. Instead, they had another genetically altered and mutated animal, which was like these fucked up dogs that could like walk on their hind legs that had all these very human-like gestures that were really disturbing. And not only that, all of the dogs kind of resembled all of the tributes who had fallen thus far, and they had the same eyes, like they had human eyeballs, and their hair like looked the same as the hair of the tributes. It was like really creepy and totally fucked with Katniss's head, and so much more terrifying than a stupid digital dog. But I understand why they had to do it the way they had to do it. It was probably for budgetary reasons, which I get, but I prefer the book a lot more on this one. Genetic mutation is way scarier than digital dogs. Just saying. Katniss even thinks to herself in the book, she's like, oh, Jesus Christ, these look like all the other tributes. And then she notices the eyes and is like, are those their actual eyeballs? She questions whether they took their actual eyeballs out of their head and put them in these dogs. Like, that's how messed up it is. And it's like, ugh, that sounds awful. Number 8, post-Hunger Games events.
This year's victors of the 74th Annual Hunger Games!
The ending of the movie is a little bit different from the ending of the book. In the book, you have Peeta who has to get his entire leg amputated because of that fucked up sword cut he had on his leg. It was like so bad that they had to take the whole thing and replace it with a robotic like plastic and metal leg, which again they probably cut out for budgetary reasons.
Well, he's gonna like that better anyway.
Well,
Trust me.
It's pretty cool because Katniss finds out about it and she's kind of like horrified. She's like, oh my God, they had to give you a whole new leg? Like, it's pretty messed up. Another thing that they left out was that after you win the Hunger Games, you have to go back and like sit on Caesar Flickerman's stage and do another post-interview after you're done with Hunger Games. And they have to show you a highlight reel of all the death sequences of all the different tributes. And Katniss is like really not into it. Like she's talking about how horrible it is and she has to like smile through it all and watch all these kids die and just how awful it is. And number 9. I'm not going to tell you. You're just going to have to read the book to find out.
What? No, tell me.
No, I'm not going to tell you. You just got to read it because there are just so many other things in the book that we didn't go over that are just great little nuances and fun things that will really make you appreciate the series a lot more.
You're a tease. This whole thing's been a tease. It's a scam.
Oh no, now I have to read something.
You're a scam artist.
Ah, don't make me read. The only complaint I have about the Hunger Games is that I don't know more about the world they're in, because this world building is so interesting. I love this universe. I want to know so much more about it. And I wish there was like so much more details. Like I wish they'd go into like super details like Frank Herbert does in Dune, you know, because I think that this world deserves that because it feels like such a real world that I want to know. What are other countries like? What's going on in other countries? You know, you don't even know what all the different capitals make. I know that 3 makes electronics, 4 does seafood, 11 is agriculture, 12 is coal, 8 is textiles. But that's it. I don't know what anybody else does. I want to know more.
I heard that Hunger Games was just a ripoff of Battle Royale, which is some Taiwanese movie.
Wrong again, robot. Both you and the naysayers have no idea what you're talking about because you know what? I own Battle Royale. Battle Royale is a friend of mine. And you don't know Battle Royale, okay?
Well, that is true. I've never actually seen it. But I heard this in the media, so it must be true.
Well, you know what? I have seen it. I saw it in college. I saw maybe one of the only official US theatrical releases of it on Christmas last year. And I understand why people would make the comparison because you obviously have a bunch of school-age children all together and they're all killing each other in a contest and only one can win. I understand the comparison, but I feel like you can like Battle Royale and Hunger Games. It's not a problem. You're not cheating on Battle Royale by also liking Hunger Games. And I don't think that Suzanne Collins just tried to rip this off, okay? Hunger Games is its own thing with its own world that's far more expansive than anything you're gonna find in Battle Royale. Although I will say that I am glad that Battle Royale brought up the whole sex issue, whereas they never really do that in Hunger Games. But it's like, if you're getting ready to die and you're a teenager, wouldn't that be you'd be thinking about that?
Banging?
Yeah, losing your V card.
Oh, yeah, that's totally what I'd be doing.
Nobody wants to die a virgin.
Well, I don't have to worry about that.
Is that right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know. So that's it for my top changes from the book to the movie in Hunger Games. I really want to encourage everyone out there to pick up the books. If you enjoy the movie, you will really love the books. They are so much more fun because they have so much more details, all right? And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook for more Hunger Games during our month of Hunger Games extravaganza. We got a whole lot of other Hunger Games videos coming out, so stay tuned. By the way, just so you know, we have Amazon links in our descriptions. So if you want to buy the Hunger Games trilogy, you can go there right now and buy it. And if you buy it from my link, then I get a small portion of that sale, which helps us fund our show and keep going. So please use our Amazon links. If this is good enough for Stephen King, it's good enough for you, robot. All right?
Stephen King liked it?
Yes, he loved it. And so did everyone who reads it, including my uncle, who is very crotchety. All right? And it really stands out. I'm so glad that they decided to keep this movie for November, because if it had come out in the summer, I don't know what would have happened. Good, smart thinking for you guys. Good job.